The boutique smelled like fresh fabric and perfume, but something felt wrong the moment I stepped inside. The staff avoided my eyes. No congratulations. No excitement. Just silence, thick and uncomfortable. What would you do if the one person who grew up beside you took the most important thing of your life? What if your own family helped her do it and smiled while you broke? And what if the man you were about to marry didn't stop it because he benefited from it? Chloe. I'm 28 years old, and this is the story of how my sister stole my wedding. While my family watched, I walked into the bridal shop for my final fitting, my heart pounding with excitement I'd waited years to feel. The dress was supposed to be waiting for me. Instead, the manager cleared her throat and said something that made the room tilt beneath my feet. "I'm sorry," she said gently. "Your sister picked up the dress yesterday." I laughed at first. I actually laughed because it sounded ridiculous. Until she continued. "My sister had my ID. She told them I couldn't make it. Everything had been handled, officially. That dress cost me 3 months of my salary. 3 months of late nights. 3 months of sacrifice. I wasn't the glamorous sister. I was the practical one. Emma, the golden child, never had to save for anything. Beauty came easy to her. Attention followed her everywhere. And my parents? They loved reminding me of that. Emma has the looks, they'd say. You have the brains. As if that was supposed to comfort me. I drove straight to my parents' house, gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. I could hear laughter before I even opened the door. And there she was, Emma, standing in the living room, wearing my wedding dress. She was spinning in front of the mirror, ivory silk catching the light like it was made for her. Everyone was watching, smiling, taking photos. I asked her how she could steal my dress. She looked at me like I was overreacting. "It's not stealing," she said calmly. "You get the practical things. I get the beautiful ones." My mother didn't even look up from her phone. "Emma's wedding is bigger," she said. "She needs it more." That was the moment something inside me cracked. Because this wasn't just about a dress anymore. And I didn't know it yet, but this was only the first thing Emma had taken from me. By the next morning, the shock had settled into something heavier, something sharper. Chloe sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone as notification after notification lit up the screen. Emma's photos were everywhere. My dress, her captions, her praise. Stunning. Dream gown. She looks like royalty. Every comment felt like a quiet betrayal, not just from Emma, but from everyone who never questioned how she suddenly had everything I had worked for. Then the phone rang. David. His voice wasn't angry. That hurt more. It was confused. Careful. "Chloe, I just got a message from your cousin. She says Emma's wedding is next Saturday." My chest tightened. That's the day before ours," I whispered. Silence. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about the dress anymore. Emma wasn't borrowing. She was replacing me. The unraveling started fast. Too fast. The florist called first, apologizing for the misunderstanding. My parents had redirected the entire floral order. The caterer followed. Then the venue coordinator. Same explanation every time. Emma's wedding came first. Emma's wedding mattered more. By afternoon, my inbox was a graveyard of cancellations. Months of planning erased with a few phone calls I hadn't made. Then came the family group chat. Emma's message sat at the top, cheerful and confident. "Fixed a little mix-up with the guest list. Can't wait to see everyone next Saturday, 2 hearts." I watched in disbelief as my friends, responded with excitement. Some of David's groomsmen chimed in too. Emma had contacted them directly. She had my contacts, my plans, my life. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. "Mom gave me the numbers," she said casually. "I just wanted the important people there." That night, David found me sitting on the floor of our apartment, surrounded by printed emails and half-empty coffee cups. The rain outside mirrored the quiet collapse inside me. "Maybe we should postpone," he said gently. That was the moment that broke me. Not because he was wrong, but because even the man who loved me was starting to believe this wedding was already lost. Sunday dinner was the final blow. Emma sat at the table, glowing, soaking in praise while casually taking credit for plans I'd made months ago. When I tried to speak, she laughed it off. When I objected, my parents shut me down. "Be grateful," my father said. "You're helping your sister." I nodded. I smiled. But inside something shifted. Because while Emma thought she had taken everything, she had no idea how much I had already prepared. And she had no idea what I was capable of when pushed too far. By the time the wedding week arrived, the situation had spiraled far beyond jealousy or sibling rivalry. What Emma had done wasn't just cruel, it was calculated. Every vendor cancellation email, every date confusion, every redirected service followed the same pattern. Someone with authority had deliberately overridden my contracts. And that someone was my own family. I sat at my kitchen table late one night, surrounded by printed emails, screenshots, call logs, and contracts. The pattern was undeniable. My parents had used their long-standing relationships and financial leverage to reposition Emma's wedding as the priority event. But what they didn't know was that I had quietly documented everything. Every phone call, every forwarded email, every vendor confirmation that had been altered without my consent. That's when I stopped reacting emotionally and started thinking strategically. I reached out to the bridal shop first. The manager hesitated, then quietly sent me the security footage. There it was, Emma, confidently presenting a forged ID, signing my name, and walking out with a dress that legally wasn't hers. My stomach dropped, but my mind sharpened. This wasn't family drama anymore. This was fraud. Then came the contract review. The dress wasn't just expensive, it was protected. The agreement with Isabella Moreau was airtight. Intellectual property clauses, ownership terms, usage restriction. Emma hadn't just stolen a dress. She had violated an international design contract tied to a multi-million-dollar brand launch. Meanwhile, Emma's confidence grew louder. She flooded social media with countdown posts, bridal portraits, close-ups of the gown. She tagged fashion influencers and hinted at exclusive designer connections. Watching strangers praise her taste felt like being erased in real time. Worse, my parents basked in the attention, proudly reinforcing the lie. David watched it all unfold, stunned. "They're not just hurting you," he said quietly. "They're rewriting your life." That was the moment I made the call. Isabella listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then her voice hardened. Cold, precise, controlled. She didn't raise her tone. She didn't need to. She said one sentence that changed everything. "This will be handled publicly and legally." 2 days before the wedding, legal notices were prepared. Security was coordinated. Documentation was finalized. Emma thought the spotlight was hers. She had no idea the stage was already set. Saturday morning arrived with perfect weather. The kind that makes everything feel staged, almost cinematic. I sat quietly in the back row of the church, my hands folded in my lap, my face calm. Inside, my heart was steady, not nervous, not angry. Focused. Guests filled the pews, many of them my friends, my co-workers, people who thought they were attending a rescheduled celebration. My parents sat proudly in the front. Emma stood near the altar, glowing in the stolen dress, soaking in every whisper, every admiring glance. She believed she had won. The music began. Emma walked down the aisle, like the world belonged to her. The ivory silk flowed behind her, the exact way it was designed to, for me. Cameras clicked. Smiles widened. This was her moment. Until it wasn't. Just as the officiant reached the part about objections, the heavy wooden doors at the back of the church opened. Every head turned. The sound of heels echoed through the silence, slow, deliberate, commanding. Isabella Moreau walked in. She didn't rush. She didn't hesitate. Dressed in a sharp black designer suit, silver hair perfectly styled, she looked like authority itself. The room froze. "Excuse me," she said calmly, her French accent slicing through the air. "I need to speak with the bride. About her dress." Emma's smile collapsed. Color drained from her face. Brett looked confused. My parents stiffened. Isabella pointed directly at Emma. "That gown is stolen property. It is a prototype from my upcoming collection, created exclusively for my business partner, Chloe Thompson." Gasps rippled through the church. Isabella raised a folder. "I have contracts, intellectual property filings, and security footage showing this dress was taken using fraudulent identification." Emma tried to speak. Nothing came out. "And for clarity," Isabella continued, turning to the guests, "Chloe Thompson is the anonymous designer behind multiple global rebranding campaigns. Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle. This dress was payment for her work. Its value exceeds $50,000. My parents looked at me like they were seeing a stranger. Security is waiting outside, Isabella said evenly. This dress will be reclaimed immediately. The ceremony collapsed into chaos. Emma was escorted away in tears. Guests whispered. Some stood up and left. Cameras stopped. A week later, I walked down the aisle in a new gown, one designed just for me. Isabella sat in the front row smiling. My wedding was quiet, genuine, powerful. Emma faced legal consequences. I set boundaries. My career went public. And for the first time, I didn't feel invisible. If this story kept you hooked, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me, what kind of story should come next? Because the next one is even more intense.